Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you again for watching another one of my videos. I truly appreciate it. I read a post on Facebook this morning. Somebody had went fishing and they caught several fish, and all of a sudden the bite died. Conditions was a light, to begin with, was a light south wind. We had a south wind now for 2 or 3 days, and then it changed to a northeast wind. A front came through, and the wind changed from the northeast. And the question was, why did the fish stop biting? They was fished this spot for quite some time, and all of a sudden the fish just quit biting. Part of my response was probably barometric pressure had went up because the front had passed through. And I read a post where somebody else had mentioned a barometric pressure change, and he said that it just slightly changed, but sometimes slightly change is all it takes for the barometric pressure to get them to shut down or go deeper, or they may not have been at the same depth that they were when they was catching them to begin with. I believe I read that they could still see them on their electronics, but they couldn't get them to bite. So I don't know if the barometric pressure had something to do with making them go deeper, and they just didn't notice they was deeper, or what exactly. Or it may not have been the barometric pressure. I also told them about the current. That wind had been blowing for a 3 days out of the south, even though it was a slight wind. It was blowing out of the south, which creates a current in the water. And when the wind switched to the northeast, it started settling that current down because it was blowing back against it, and so it was slowing the current. Also, the wind could have pushed the plankton or whatever else was in the water the bait fish was feeding on. Could have pushed it out of the area, and the bait fish was leaving, and that could have helped shut the fishing down as well, the bait fish leaving. So the fish was starting to follow the bait fish out of the area, so they wasn't biting as well. But like I said, the fish was used to that current going in one direction. All of a sudden it shut down. It was shut down, just like in a lake. It's got a dam on it. They'll be drawing water. While that current's going, you can really catch the fish. And all of a sudden, when they shut the current off, it dies. I mean, the fishing dies. We had a state tournament down on Dardanelle one year, and during pre-fishing, I was catching them. They had the current rocking, and had my 200 horse, you could feel the current moving me around, even with a 200 horse motor on the back, So it was cooking, and I was catching big fish. I was catching them anywhere 4 to 8 pounds. I was on them, and the day, I think it was the day before the state tournament started, they shut the water flow off, and my fish died. I had to put up my power fishing stuff and get out shaky head worms to get a bite. I had to go really finesse really finesse to get a bite during that tournament on Dardanelle. Usually Dardanelle, I power fished the whole time. I was lucky to even have any shaky heads with me, or anything finessey with me on Dardanelle. But anyway, that was my 2 cents on it was barometric pressure and the current stopped from what had been the last 2 or 3 days. The current stopped, and that just kind of closed the fish's mouth, along with that cold front going through. So what's you guys' opinion on why their fish stopped biting, other than maybe they caught most of the fish out of that school and had them sore lipped? Was another option that could have been. They could have caught most of the fish out of that school, or they just got there just in time for the feeding frenzy to be on, and they caught them during when they was feeding heavily, and then they slacked off of feeding after they fed heavily. Those are kind of the options for them to think about. I imagine they could have still caught a few more if they had went finesse or went bigger. Sometimes even going bigger or going finesse or speeding the retrieve of something up. But with that cold front going through, I figure going a little bit finessier was something, drop shot, because I figure they was on the hot lake is kind of what I figured. I may be wrong, but they could have went to maybe a drop shot or a small tube, Ned head. I don't know if they tried any of these things that I just mentioned or not. They didn't say. But anyway, my suggestion would be to go to a finesse bait or a really, really big bait to try to get more bites after the bite shut down. They said that they used like 3 different baits and caught fish on all 3 different baits before the bite died. And so other than that, that's about all the information I had. So anyway, what's your guys' opinion on it? And if you like the content, please hit like, subscribe, and share this video. And I will talk to you later. Have a blessed week, and I will see you on the water.